So I'm not even sure we're in Patagonia because we've been here with the second group now for nearly 10 days and we haven't had any wind at all. It's just been totally still. And we've got 2 days left on this trip. I'm gonna vlog these last 2 days and we're starting it off with a wind-free hike to go see the Cuernos.
Of all the iconic peaks around the world, few are quite as distinctive as the Cuernos. But these mountains are shy. They rarely show their faces. Clouds are almost always lingering, obscuring the views. These peaks are so prominent in the landscape that they actually create their own little microclimate, one that's usually full of rain and wind. Today though, it's beyond calm.
This morning's a little bit anxious, I guess, because the winds are starting to pick up. We're starting to lose a little bit of reflection, starting to get a little bit overcast, but if the sun punches through and if the reflections hold, this has the potential to be unreal. So our fingers are all crossed. There's some lingering clouds on the peaks. And I've got my composition locked in. It's pretty simple. I'm getting both Paine Grande, which is the big mountain over there, and the Cuernos, the horns, over there, both in the frame, and I've got this piece of beautiful driftwood in the middle of the frame, right between the two of them, in the middle of my shot. So fingers crossed we get some light, but worst case scenario, I mean, it looks pretty cool right now as it is. Not getting light at all. We definitely didn't get the glow. Sun's been up for 5-10 minutes, but it's just too cloudy. To compensate for the lack of light, I think I might go black and white, but I don't know. I'm shooting actually like a 2-minute exposure at f11 with a 6-stop ND and a 2-stop medium grad ND, and I think that we'll get some motion in the sky, and I think it'll probably work best in black and white. Might work color. But I think it'll probably work better in black and white because there just isn't any color at all. It's been fun just sitting here. The weather's so nice. Oh, there's the photo. And yeah, I think it looks cool, but I do think probably black and white.
In the end, I split the difference. A toned down image with just the subtlest of colors.
Mike, how's the light?
It is fantastic.
Don't lie to us. What are you doing?
I'm just doing a preview of black and white. After I heard you say something about black and white, I wanted to see what it looked like, and it looks fantastic. So it's always a good way to try, at least try black and white and see how it looks.
At the very least, you look good with those Cuernos in the background. How sexy is that? And if you guys don't know Mike, go check out his YouTube channel. You're closing on like 25K, aren't you?
I'm 19, just about to pass 19,000.
Closing in on 20K. Go make him 20K by the end of this video.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about workshops is you kind of wander around a little bit more. When you're out by yourself, you kind of just sit on your shot. When I'm here leading a workshop, I set up my shot and I wander around to see what everybody else is doing. And sometimes I find what they're doing to be really cool, and sometimes I steal their shot. Other times I see something while I'm like looking at their shot. And so Mike's here with his shot, and I've just seen his piece of driftwood in the foreground with just the reflection and no sky. And I'm going a square crop because I'm pretending I'm Thomas Heaton and just putting this piece of driftwood in the frame, and it looks really, really cool. I'm really stoked with this.
Sometimes it's not about the hero image. Especially when it's overcast, you can use that soft light to turn out simple images that leave a lot more to the imagination. So while the light didn't exactly pop, we all walked away with a couple images, and we headed out towards a sunset. Or at least the potential of a sunset.
Oh, I got dirt all over this thing. Because it's not looking like we're gonna get a whole lot of light, there's a bit of a location scouting mission, and we've come to the viewpoint over Salto Chico, which we actually came to, I guess, 2 weeks ago. And when we came here 2 weeks ago, it looked like it wasn't the greatest shot. It looked like it was gonna be a big hero shot, but nothing really special. But I've come just a little bit lower than we were 2 weeks ago to this spot where actually you get a touch of reflection from the Cuernos in the bottom right-hand side of the image. You also have kind of this bend. It almost looks like a lagoon, but I think it's just another arm of the lake and the river. And yeah, you don't get a whole lot of reflection on the river itself back that way because it's moving. But I think just this touch of the Cuernos on the bottom looks really good. So I got my fingers crossed that we get a little bit of light, but it's not looking good.
In the end, gray skies, they won out. And in the morning, the weather, well,
the weather's gone fully British. I feel like I'm in Scotland in the summertime. It's just totally cloudy. You can't see any of the peaks. It's just misty. And yeah, it's gonna be a challenge this morning here. But I do think there's probably potential for shots, shooting some of the details or some of the stillness in the water or maybe some of the trees. I was saying how Scottish this morning feels, and it's definitely the case because it's really, really beautiful, absolutely beautiful here, but also a little bit challenging to get scale and to build compositions around. But I've wandered a little bit, found this part of the river that's dead still, and there's some rocks visible in the water. And I'm thinking that maybe I can put some of these rocks in my foreground under the water with a polarizer and then get these beautiful Scottish looking hills off in the distance, kind of catching this last little bit of fog. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna try.
in my opinion, there's no better way to make totally unique images than by heading out in bad weather. The giant peaks of Torres del Paine were all around us, but with a cloud settling just a couple meters above our heads, we might as well have been in a blanket fort. These conditions, though, have forced me to shake the distraction of the obvious photographs of the Cuernos and dive a little bit deeper. And through it all, this image is totally unique. It could be anywhere, and I don't think it's a photo that's ever been made here. And likely, it's a photo no one will ever make again. So even though the weather was rough, it was another very successful morning in the park. And to be honest, I was feeling quite proud of myself. I was feeling really positive. Until...
So I'm kind of sad this morning for a couple reasons. The first reason is, yesterday when we were driving, leaving the park after having a bust of a morning, we were about 15 minutes ahead of Greg's group, and Greg's group saw a puma.
Oh, correction. Greg saw a puma.
No, your whole group saw the puma.
Yeah, I'm joking. Yeah, it was amazing.
Selfish Greg. He didn't even radio ahead and said, hey guys, we got a puma. He just ditched us to take his puma video.
Oh, wow.
The second reason I'm sad is because this is the last sunrise in Patagonia. We weren't planning on coming back to the Cuernos, but since we busted 2 mornings in a row here, we had to come back and give it a try. And it's really windy again, as you can probably hear. It's a little bit rainy, but there's potential. There's clouds off that way, and they're catching some light. So, as I try to stand up in the wind, and hope my tripod doesn't fall over in the wind, here's hoping. Here's hoping for a bit of light on the last morning in Patagonia. And we're getting snowed on now, and I'm not even sure you'll be able to see me through all the water on the lens. It's like day 30 in Patagonia, and it's day 12 with this group, and finally we're getting a very, very Patagonian day. In fact, there's even a condor flying above our heads right now. I've got a composition I love with this tree, I guess, in the foreground in the water here. And then it's just really simple, but the way the tree almost has horns, it almost kind of mimics the peaks up here, which are called the cuernos, or the horns. So I love this setup. I've already gotten a photo I like before sunrise, but sunrise is supposed to happen in about 5-6 minutes. So we're just sitting here waiting, hoping that the light gets above some of these clouds and catches these peaks.
We waited out rolling weather and urged the light on, but mostly we just stood in awe. Wow, there's magic here. An energy that urges you to explore, a power that propels you to push yourself. Over this month, I feel like I've grown so much. My images feel more powerful, my energy levels fuller, and my mind more at ease. So as we walked away, stopped to attempt to photograph a Wanako, I felt blessed.
That was about as Patagonian as a morning could possibly be. It rained, it was windy, it was miserable, it snowed, and then every now and then for about 15-minute spurts, we got really nice light. Didn't get perfect light, but I think I still managed to get a photo I'm happy with. And now it's nice again for a couple minutes. Tomorrow, I'm starting a journey somewhere new, somewhere I've never been to before, a new country, somewhere warmer, and I'm excited for that. So, I guess I'll see you guys on that episode. Peace.